I'm Sarah Delaval. I'm here with Citizen Media, and I've got Mindy Robinson here. You might recognize her from King of the Nerds. And what brings you out to AmFest today?
Well, I've been talking politics for a while. I went to school for it, and I was one of the few actresses in Hollywood that would be vocal about being a conservative. So I ended up kind of becoming a hit on Twitter. I feel like people live vicariously through me because I get to troll the liberal celebrities, and they have to see my blue check, and they usually respond and they fall for it pretty good. So we own people on Twitter, basically.
That's awesome. So what do you think how does that feel as a conservative in Hollywood? I mean, you're clearly a minority.
You know what? I don't know how much of a minority we really are. Because I run the page, because I do what I do, I've had A-list actors and singers come up to me like, oh, I love what you do. Can't retweet it. I'll lose everyone and I'll never get hired again, but I love what you do. And so there's actually a lot of us, especially with the crew and the producers, anyone that deals with money. Yes, there's a loud leftist, kind of liberal nepotistic thing, and they keep hiring each other. So they're in positions of power. There's a lot of us there. There's a lot of us in California as well. And, a lot of it's just ballot harvesting and propaganda and that little bubble of LA. You leave that bubble, you find regular Americans just like us.
Yeah, I mean, we have heard a lot about possibility of California going red, states like New York going red. What's your opinion on that? Do you think it's possible?
It should be possible. I mean, obviously we're dealing with the left and they're trying to get rid of the electoral system and the ballot harvesting, all these things. The left is constantly trying to push for ways to make our voting less secure. And the only reason anyone would do that is because you want to cheat. And you have one side that wants voter ID. I mean, can you imagine if I went to the bar and they asked for my ID and I just screamed, racist? That's stupid. You would never do that, So why would you do that for voting and all that other stuff? And so they've been cheating to win. And the reason we have the Electoral College, and it is set up the way it is so that we don't become like land serfs, to the coastal elite and the people in the cities. But they're so out of touch, and they want to tell us how to think, and they want to tell us how to live while living pretty awfully themselves, it seems. So I think if they ever did a move where they try to secede or try to do anything, they're going to see a pushback from regular folks in the rural communities. California's a lot rural. Yeah. There's a lot of cattle. There's a lot of huge amount of farmlands, and they're gonna miss us very quick when they go hungry. So it's possible to turn them red, but you're gonna have to secure our elections first and actually be voting for the people we want, and then I think you'll see actual change.
So what would you say to people that may be coming from a place like liberal Hollywood or New York City or somewhere where it's a little bit scary to come out in public as a conservative? What would be your advice to them?
You know what? Just do it and be yourself. It's a lot. I've had friends that are LGBT. They're like, it was easier to come out of the closet than it was to come out as conservative. And it shouldn't be like that. It's really just a different mind of thought and stuff like that. And when you do leave LA, and I travel most of the time, I've been to most of the states, it's people like us. Like I'm driving in LA and I see a Jane Fonda billboard. If that billboard were in any other city, it would be on fire because veterans set it on fire and probably did worse things to it. But they live in this bubble, and they scare people to never talk or never, So there's a lot of people being quiet, but I think we're a loud majority of people, silent majority, I guess you'd say. But I think we're about to be loud is what I'm about to say.
So it seems that we did start off this movement as the silent majority, and we've certainly gotten more outspoken, as I've seen throughout the past 4 years. What would you say is the most important thing that's up for contention right now in the upcoming election? What would you say?
We got an election problem. We have a huge election problem. Obviously, I ran in Nevada. It's a long story. First they gave felons the right to vote. Then they gave illegals licenses, and they're automatically signed up to vote unless they opt out. Then they demanded that dead people get ballots. Why? Then they demanded mail-in ballots. They were everywhere. Then they enacted ballot harvesting. They refused to enact voter ID. We got a problem. We have a huge problem. How do you fix a system you have to vote on to fix? How do we know any of these politicians we're sending to DC are the ones that people voted for? We don't. We need a major overhaul of our election system. And until we do that, nothing else we argue about is going to matter. It's just going to be voted out and cheated on.
So how do you see that playing out on election night, being that, thinking about how the New York primaries went a few months ago, and that was just a disaster, and people are getting multiple ballots in the mail, and you've got Nancy Pelosi trying to, put ballot harvesting as a condition of the next stimulus package. How do you see that all playing out on November 3rd?
A complete disaster. But I think that's the plan. I think the plan is to create confusion, to have ballots everywhere, to have no one really know. Kind of what they did in 2016. Oh, the polls had Hillary winning. they do that. So it's not a surprise when they cheat and win. They're like, oh, well, the poll said that. I think the same thing is happening. They're saying, oh, Biden's going to really... Find me a Democrat passionate about Biden. Maybe they hate Trump, but no one's passionate about that. He's creepy. You wouldn't let him babysit or run a Chuck E. Cheese. You wouldn't let him run the country, you know? And we have a huge issue. I think it's going to be a disaster. I think they're going to use that mayhem to drag it out and complicate it and say, oh, Trump didn't really win again, all this stuff. And I think it's going to be a landslide. I'm hoping they can't even cheat enough to win. I really think that's going to happen. And I think they're going to, oh my God, the tears. The tears.
Right.
Get a vote.
So thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you being out here. Where can people find you on Twitter?
You can find me, Mindy Robinson. Make sure there's a blue check and not one of the people pretending to be me. And you'll see my face. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. And it's fun. Like I said, live through me and watch me troll people. It makes me feel better about the madness going on. So maybe it'll make you feel better.
Thank you so much.
Give us an impersonation of a liberal on when they lost to Trump.
You want me to do an impersonation of a liberal when they lost to Trump? You want me to start like screaming here? Like, I can't. I don't think I can do that without security coming. I can't do that because I'm a conservative. I can't. I mean,
It's not in our blood.
it really isn't to just act like children. No, I can't even. I'm an actor and I can't even do it. That's pretty bad.